What's going on, everybody? So, as of late, I think everybody's heard the news about physical games and stuff. I mean, I came back from work today and I've been sitting on this video for a while. Obviously, I've been listening to the news and reading some of the articles. And to be quite frank with you, look, I'm not really surprised given how corporate greed works, especially whenever a company moves its headquarters over to America. We already know how Americans tend to run everything into the ground as far as, well, when it comes down to capitalism. They don't really give a shit about customers. It's effectively the bottom dollar and whatever bonus that CEO can get. So ultimately, when it comes down to it, realistically speaking, I think it was only a matter of time until we came here. I just didn't expect it to come like this and so soon and so sudden, obviously. But given the track record of Sony as of late, I think it's only fair to say that everybody, or a long list of people, would be upset. And ultimately, myself as well, I am. I mean, primarily, I am a physical game collector. It's something which I do. It's a hobby. I don't get the time to play the games, but I do, whenever I have the opportunity, I buy as many physical games as I can. Like, for example, to give you an idea, I've purchased Forbidden Siren 1 and 2, and I bought these like about maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, and I haven't played them yet. As much as I've watched YouTube videos and I like the way they look and they look very interesting, I just don't have the time for it. But the beauty about it is, yes, it is a PlayStation 2 game of which they are only physical games. The digital only thing doesn't work over there. But the catch is I can play those games whenever I feel like in the future. I can do whatever I want with them. They're no longer in circulation. And when you do find them, they're very expensive. I got them at a good deal. And this was obviously before the whole game collecting madness took over the world. And millennials ruined it. So, I'm millennial, by the way, as old as I look. So, over here is another stack of games that I have. These are all PlayStation 3 titles. And from what I understand, Assault, Horizon, delisted. Gran Turismo 6, this is a PlayStation exclusive, delisted. Can't play it anymore. Spider-Man, licensing issues because Activision, Marvel, all of that. Carbon, I don't think you can buy this anymore. This is the physical copy that I've got. Blur, one of my most favorite games ever. This is basically Mario Kart with real life cars. I can play them whenever I feel like it. Same with Dragon Ball's Universe. I've been told this is delisted. Don't know how true that is. The other one that really rubs me the wrong way, I think it's 007 Legends. Apparently, this thing was delisted within the year that it came out. And there you go, physical copy. I can do whatever I want with them. I can play with them whenever I feel like it. Sounds inappropriate. And I can lend them to a friend. I can sell them back in Forbidden Siren's case for a hefty profit. I only paid $2 each, and this was like 8 years ago, before everybody was losing their minds about this crap. And to be quite frank with you, I have no intention of selling it, but I now found out that these things are worth a hell of a lot of money to the right idiot. So, why am I talking about physical games? Simple, because Sony has decided that they're going to be killing off physical games. And news-wise, I think if some of you have seen the stuff already by now, most of you would have. The thing is, whenever it comes down to handing over ownership of things, I am a firm belief, and I'm saying this not as a lawyer, but as a person, as a normal person. I'm of the belief that unless you can do whatever you want with the item that you've purchased, you don't own it. So basically, if you can't sell it, you can't trade it, you can't lend it to somebody, you can't destroy it on your own, you don't own it. That's just my take and feel of it. I know that with shares, for example, of a company, those things you can't really touch it, but they're on a spreadsheet. You can sell it, get some money back. With a digital store purchase, you can't do that. You can't go into the PlayStation Store and sell a game out of your library. In fact, I know people who have sold their entire accounts, but as much as that may be against the services, the terms of service, the thing is, you can't lend that game to anybody from what I know with PlayStation Store. And also pricing. Pricing is very important. You see, like I said, I didn't spend much on Forbidden Siren 2, 1 and 2. Alright? With these games as well, I purchased these for like $3 each. And it sounds cheap, but hey, I was in the right place at the right time. The games happened to be there and I happened to have money and I bought it. With the PlayStation Store, pricing has always been an issue. The games are way more expensive there compared to Steam, for example. On top of that, we already know that they do dynamic pricing. So basically, depending on what you're willing to spend, all of your games get discounted accordingly. If you're the type of person who will buy a game at 100%, chances are you're not going to get a massive discount on most of your titles. But if you're the type who only waits for huge discounts, then that's where it comes in. And speaking of huge discounts, you're not as generous as Steam. No one is. As far as the catalog goes, if physical games are killed off, you're stuck with a digital library on a specific platform like PlayStation. Whatever's available on the platform, provided it hasn't been delisted. Can you imagine one day you decide to log in, and yes, I get it that you've purchased it. All right, you were lucky enough to purchase it. But can you imagine one day you decide to buy a PlayStation, and because there's no physical games, you don't know that a specific title is delisted. And maybe you wait a year or two and then you decide, look, let me go and look on this PlayStation store where this title is. I want to play this game now because at the time I didn't have the money to buy the game. And it's no longer there. You're stuck. Whereas in PC, when games get delisted, they normally end up being as abandonware, shovelware, freeware, whatever you want to call it, the legal gray area. We all know where they fall. Basically, they can't be sold, they can't be sold, not supposed to be distributed, but nobody can really sue you because the licenses are just a complete mess. To get the right party to sue you is going to be a massive uphill, and it's just not worth the fight, or uphill battle. Now, why am I so hard up about this? I believe, and I'm saying this from a legal standpoint, consumers' rights are being affected. Specifically, your right to ownership and to do whatever the hell you want, primarily with your stuff. So if you buy a car, for example, you can do whatever you want with the car. I mean, if you total the car, that's your issue. Your insurance might take issue with that. And maybe they'll reimburse you, maybe they won't. With a physical game, you can do something similar to that. You can also get back your money, or in this case, sell it for a profit. All these games, every single one of them, I've never spent more than $3 on these games. Because, well, okay, there have been games, but what I mean is in these particular ones here, this entire stack, nothing here cost me too much of money. This one in particular, Forbidden Siren, yeah, that's one of those things. But the thing is, with a digital library, you can't do anything with it. You're stuck with it. Now, what happens if your account gets hacked? Sony has a track record of having the worst security when it comes down to their consumers' accounts. They've been hacked, and it's just been all over the news over the decade or the last decade, numerous times. Can you imagine for a second you want to play something on a PlayStation, all of a sudden you can't because you can't get into your account. You can't log in. Maybe you haven't gotten in a while. And your library needs to do that 30-day check or whatever it is to verify whether you really own the game or not. Or maybe you decide, fine, I'm on vacation finally. I'm going to go tonight and put something to install. And the next thing you know, PlayStation Network is down for a couple of days. Now, whenever PlayStation Network was down, you know what you used to do? You would just rip out a physical game, you'd pop it in, and whatever you had in your physical library is what you would generally get access to play, unless there were some online component which you were stuck with. But with everything being online nowadays, I don't know how that's going to affect everybody. The other issue we have is this physical effect actually kicks in from January 2028. And this is obviously around the time, 7 years or 8 years onward, whereby the PlayStation 6 will be, likely would be launched. That's $1,000 console apparently. Now, realistically speaking, if you're going to spend $1,000 on this type of thing, you better be making some of that money back somehow. And realistically speaking, whenever I bought video games, if I didn't like the game, I would sell it or I would trade it. And that's how I would get some of my money back or make back that loss. With digital, maybe you get hooked for the first couple of hours and you can't return the game eventually. And you get to the end and it just sucks. And that's it. You're done. The other situation we have as well is Sony went and ripped a whole bunch of media from people's accounts, movies. And the thing about this though is these were purchases made by customers. Now, for some of you may be wondering, okay, the person that you've purchased it from has removed your ability to access your purchase. Surely they'll reimburse you or refund you or do something to compensate you. No. And you've got to understand, if you are on a digital platform only, you have no power and no control over your library. The thing is, you can do whatever you want as far as purchases are available. Maybe you can remove an item from your library. But if they decide for whatever reason, maybe your account violates something and they permanently ban that account, can you imagine having a Sony account which is like maybe 15 years old and every month you've purchased a new AAA game or something like that? And then all of a sudden they just one day just shut it down. They shut down that store completely. You can't buy anything with it, or they delete your account or ban you, or your account gets hacked and stolen. You can't get it back. Something happens, and then by losing that account, you now need to go and purchase all of your existing or the games you used to have again on a new account. The other issue you have as well is going back to the account situation, for whatever reason, you lose your account. Generally, maybe something happens to your PlayStation. You can just go out, buy a new PlayStation, and, pop in a physical game and play it from there. You can't do that when you have a digital piece of software. You're gonna have to re-download it all over again. You have limited space, limited storage on your device. 825 gigs or 1 terabyte, whatever it may be, with whatever expansion bay that you have. The problem you're gonna have though is, one, these things are getting way more expensive year on year. RAM, SSDs, thanks to artificial intelligence, they're getting exponentially more expensive than they used to be. Now, with a digital only console and even on PC, I've currently got about maybe, let me just see, for 5 terabytes worth of storage on my PC. And I feel that's not enough for the video games that I play, because in some cases, some games are over 100 gigabytes in size. On a PlayStation, a digital only console, the beauty about these discs, yes, a portion of the game is here, the rest of it needs to be downloaded via an update. But the trick is, you could still install the game. You could still play the game while your updates are downloading in the background. Not on PS3, but on the other ones, PS4 and PS5. In the future, if your internet is slow for whatever reason, and maybe games end up being like 300 gigabytes like GTA 6 is apparently alleged to be, what is your plan if your internet goes down? What is your plan if your internet is slow? What are you going to do when it comes down to that? And a lot of people, I know those who are obviously more hard up about physical collectors, like, I'm a physical collector, more physical items. And I also believe in terms of ownership as well. Your rights are, well, my rights are secured here unless somebody comes in and steals it from me. Then yeah. When it comes down to it, the fundamentals is that it's simple. You will never own your PlayStation library. That was the reason why I would buy physical games, even though they want the best version. Yes, I've got Blur on the PlayStation 3. I've also got Blur on PC, a physical version of PC sitting somewhere here. And when I want to, I play it over there because you get better frame rates, higher resolutions. Everything on PC is better, but ultimately, it is also a digital platform nowadays. It's been that way for quite a long time, in fact. Even if you could buy physical Steam games, those physical games were useless to you. Because once you use the Steam key, then it'll sit in your library and that physical disc is just a paperweight. But it was nice to have a physical disc either way. When it comes down to everything that Sony is doing, it is counterproductive to why people like me specifically would buy consoles or buy physical games, because you can actually physically own this. I mean, look at this. There's X-Men Origins Wolverine over here. Apparently this game is expensive as well. God knows why and who comes up with this shit. Forgive me, the PS3 version is somewhere. But I don't know what to say beyond the fact that at this stage, you're basically dealing with a company at which you are solely at their mercy. And if you hand over and if you allow this to happen, you will literally never own anything. You will buy a $1,000 console, which is going to be useless to you at some point in the future, because they are going to shut down the store, by the way. Get this. They're shutting down the stores for the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita. Now, they tried to do this before and there was some pushback and the stores remained open. Now, I don't buy any digital PS3 games. The reason being is they're not there. The ones that I want are not on the bloody store. And the ones that are there are extremely overpriced. In fact, some of those games are the same price as they were back in 2009 when they came out. When I was working in retail, I remember the prices of physical games back then. If you go onto the PlayStation 3 now, Some of those games are still the same price as the physical variants from like 2009 at launch. It's absolutely insane. I don't know what the discounts are like. I never bothered much with it. And yes, I did purchase a few DLCs and a few digital only stuff. Obviously, I was forced into doing it because it was only a digital game from the PlayStation Store. And I've done that before. But in instances where I've had the physical option, I've always gone to the physical option because one, it was cheaper. Two, I could do whatever I want with the game. Three, I actually own the game. It's mine to keep and I can do whatever I want with it. I could get back the money from there if I don't like it. Or if, God forbid, you fall on hard times, you got a physical game collection selling, congratulations. People can't say you just wasted all of your money in video games. Even if you let it go for something, you can get some money out of it instead of just sitting there with a digital account and your pockets are empty. You can get some money back, and I've apparently found that I can get a lot of money back in some of these cases. But I'm not going to let it go. And I know I've been rambling on over here like a crazy old man, because that's effectively what I am. But I'm telling you this now as a lawyer, and realistically speaking, legally, we have to find some way to push back against this because right now your legal right to ownership is come into question. The fact that they can just go and rip all of these movies out of somebody's library and tell you, well, we're calling it a day, that alone tells you that you're dealing with effectively a tyrannical organization that simply is just going to sink your money and never give you anything of value in return. If they can just do this and get away with it, then your games are going to be the same. What's going to happen when they run out of a license for, like, in this case, Gran Turismo 6, apparently, from what I understand, excuse me, there was some licensing issues and they had to pull it. This is a Sony game. What happens if they do that in the future? Now you've bought a machine for a specific game, and that specific game is not there because it's tied to their platform. And that's it. Tough. You know, you've invested all of this money. And the other issue as well is PlayStation consoles are getting expensive year on year. At some point in time, they were selling these things apparently at a loss or breaking even. Now they want to make a profit. So they've got you stuck in their ecosystem. If they're raising prices, they don't allow you to own anything except for the actual machine. And God knows too, even then, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they force you to, I don't know, have like a dev kit agreement whereby you lease these machines from them. you can't own it legally. That will probably be the next step after this. God knows what else they will do. You know, making controllers objectively worse on purpose so the analog sticks break so that you have to buy a new controller every time, given the fact that the technology to fix that issue has been around for decades. And they're now taking movies out of your library that you've paid for without any form of compensation. They're now taking away your ability to own your video games, to sell your video games, to do whatever you want with it. I know I sound like I'm rambling and going in circles over here, but I can't reiterate and I can't drill this hard enough into anybody that I'm saying that quite literally your legal right to ownership, and I'm saying this as a lawyer, is being fucked with in one of the worst ways imaginable. And we have to do something to push back against it. I mean, stop killing games. Thank God that movement has really gotten some traction. Sony looked at that and was like, well, it doesn't affect us if you don't legally own your games. And that's the thing. Like they said, if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing, and I'm not going to push you to piracy. I mean, I've always hated piracy. I've hated it my entire life. But I cannot deny the fact that piracy is the main reason why all of my favorite video games have been preserved, especially on like PC. Modders and crackers doing whatever they can to crackers. That doesn't sound right. But what do you want to call them? Hackers doing whatever they can to preserve games in some shape or form. God bless them. Because while I used to hate the practice of doing it, primarily because I used to always be of the view that everybody needs to have a job. And when you pirated something, obviously a company lost money and then the employees would go under. But now, I have the same view, but I just don't feel as bad. I mean, if you pirated now, I'm not gonna, I don't know, judge you. Because what options do you have? I mean, you either hand over your money to somebody who doesn't give you the guarantee that you can keep what you've purchased. They can take it away from you at any time for any reason whatsoever that they make up. licensing, you violated TOS, whatever it is? Or do you just go and get it for free from somebody and run the risk of getting malware? I mean, yeah, it's up to you to decide. Keeping in mind that consoles tend to be a more lockdown platform, and in some cases, apparently, if you know what you're doing, you can jailbreak basically anything, or follow a few tutorials. But with PC, it's just out there. It's just the Wild West. Maybe that's why GTA 5 is not launching on PC. They're afraid it'll be cracked. Sales will dip all the way under. People will mod the shit out of that game, and once they've had enough fun, they'll kick out of it. And speaking of which, we're moving on to backwards compatibility now. The PlayStation 3 store is being taken down. Apparently, they're having issues with the emulation of PS3 games because of the cell architecture. So, what are your options? Well, buy physical PS3 games. With the PlayStation 6, will there be something similar? And with backwards compatibility, all those physical games that you have, which are going to be backwards compatible, or forwards, or whatever you're going to call it, compatible with like the PlayStation 6, if it's a digital only console, the physical copies don't matter. You just got to throw them away basically, because if you physically cannot put a disc inside, you have to now purchase the game again. So whatever tier system they've got for their PlayStation Plus monthly subscriptions, you probably have to engage in that service. So whatever PlayStation 1 game you have, physical game that could have worked, you're going to have to do it via the digital means only. And then I don't even have a PlayStation 5 because quite realistically, there's no games on the PlayStation 5 that I want to play that I can't get anywhere else. Like literally every game that I've wanted to play on PlayStation 5 made its way to PC. And I have the library. I mean, I don't see any reason for getting involved in the ecosystem. And you would think that they'd want to be as consumer friendly as possible. To tell people, look, this is your chances, this is your options, this is what we do differently from everybody else that you can't do on PC. Here's a physical game for you. You buy it on PC, maybe you get a bit of a discount. But if you buy it from us, you can physically touch it, sell it, distribute it. Not really distribute it, but trade it, whatever. And even get some of your money back. That's one hell of a selling point. You could be like, look, objectively speaking, yes, games can be a bit pricey, but on the used market, which is thriving to some extent, congratulations. You can buy it at a reduced rate, still engage in our services, and then, hey, maybe you can save up whatever money you were going to spend, the little extra bits, purchase the DLC from us. Purchase some extras for that video game. Maybe spend some money on the in-game shop. Even though you bought a used game, you want that extra nice costume or that skin or whatever it is, spend some money over there. That's how Sony can rope you in and make some money off of it. But they seem to have their heads up their backsides where they quite literally want to rule their platform with an iron fist. And to be quite frank with you, there's a long list of people who don't think these things through, who don't know of their options on PC, or people who are just fanboys and will just do anything, whatever. You know, for my entire life, I was always on PlayStation right until like 2009. And that's when I got my first graphics card. And then I sort of played PC, but I was still on PlayStation all the way until like 2015. Then I moved over to, I got a PlayStation 4 in 2016. I thought I had no games because I only had like 5 games that I couldn't find anything that I wanted to play that I couldn't get on PC or on PS3. And then I've been a PC gamer ever since. I've been collecting for all platforms. Xbox started in 2019. But the fact of the matter is, I can do these things of my own free will. I'm not stuck with basically taking my card and tapping it on the screen and telling, hey, take my money, and I'm just unsure, uncertain. You know, I don't know what to say to you beyond the fact that quite literally, PlayStation is probably going to kill itself doing this unless for some reason, you are just incapable of finding PC components on the used market and being able to play a long list of games. And as far as PC's library goes, it's basically from the beginning of all gaming right till now. There's some tinkering here and there, yes, but you can play it. And get this, here's where the kicker is. I can play this Gran Turismo 6, I think it's compatible, I'm not sure, or rather PlayStation 3 games on a PC. You can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up. Yes. Quite literally, physical games give you the right to do whatever you want with it. In a digital game, no. Well, I know I'm going to end the review. I'm rambling on and on, but it's just upsetting for me to see this, and I don't know what people are going to do going forward. I mean, they've been slowly changing minds over and over, and some people are just like, "Hey, I'm excited for this, and that's how I buy my games anyway." So it's all good for me. I just hope for those people that they don't just rip everything out of their library for licensing issues and then call it a day. As for me, I'm gonna probably stick on PC, and to be quite frank with you, if the PlayStation 6 comes out and that's $1,000, at that stage, I guarantee you there will be something cheaper which can play the same games at 1080p. So please don't be that person that plays everything in 4K because you just want to play it in 4K. Try to, I don't know. Sometimes scaling back to 1080p, you'd be surprised. I mean, damn, my gaming PC is like only $250 with everything, and including the monitor, keyboard, and mouse. And I can play a long list of even AAA games, albeit at 1080p, 30 FPS. In newer games, some games don't even boot up at all. It's an RX 580 GPU, but hey, at the end of the day, I can play a long list of games that are available on PlayStation 5, like Stellar Blade, and I'm fine with that. So, yeah, and Resident Evil 9 as well. So, for $250 versus whatever the hell Sony charges for a PlayStation 5 these days, and their games on top of that. So, guys, I'm out of this video. Thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry it was so long. I know I've ranted and rambled on over and over like a crazy old man, because, like I said, that's exactly what I am. And I come from a time where, well, when you purchased the game, you sat in the back seat, you opened up that cover, you would get that fresh smell of a newly printed book. You would read that book, what felt like 1,000 times on the way back home, till you get home, and you try to run into the house to play the game, but your parents will shout at you to pull everything out of the trunk of the car because you need to, whatever you shopped for, you need to take it, unpack it. Then they'd shout at you to go have a bath because you're out in the middle of public, whatever it is. Then you go do that, you set up the PlayStation, pop in that disc, and sit for hours on end. That was truly an exhilarating experience, one that sadly it looks like no one will ever experience ever again after 2028. By the way, that just affects games from that time onwards. Before that, you're fine, but not that that helps much. Anyway, I'll see you next time, and take care of yourselves. Goodbye.